Welcome back to the Igniting Dreams Within podcast, where we solve life and business problems. Today, we are solving the problem of how do we turn depression into motivation. When you are dissecting the word motivation, it simply translates to motive for action. And I remember when I was battling and having my challenge with depression. And I remember this one time I had spent, I think it was 2 weeks or so, not going to class. I even went to the point that, and it was near exams. And this one time I said, okay, let me just go to a doctor so that, because I missed one of my exams, I missed the maths exam. So I went to the doctor looking for the solution to say, doctor, help me. I don't feel like doing anything. I feel as if my life it has no meaning. I don't even know what's wrong with me, but I can't even get out of bed. Would you please help me? And I went there and I sat in the doctor's office and we spent a couple of time. He assessed me, checked my blood pressure. He's like, no, you're okay. Checked everything's like, you're okay. I don't know what's wrong with you. I'm like, why? He says, I don't know what's wrong with you, but I don't know if he gave me placebos or whatever. But then he ultimately gave me a letter that I was supposed to submit at school. Now, when I was in that slump in my life, what changed me or what helped me to turn that dark space or that dark corner into or inside of depression was that I committed to never let this experience make me ungrateful for the life that I have. You know, because I grew up in a very, very religious home and a very religious environment. We were always taught in church that there is no challenge that you go through that God does not assess and know for sure that I can handle. So in my mind, I reminded myself that if I am going through this tough time, it means that I can handle it. And I remember one time when I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I wasn't doing anything with my own life. I wasn't cooking. I wasn't going to class. I had no meaning for my life. And the first things that I did was, what is it in my life that I can be grateful for? Yes, I'm in this miserable spot. I hate what I'm doing. I hate where am I. I feel like giving up. But what is it that I can be grateful for in my life? And when I asked myself that question, what is it that I can be grateful for in my life? I realized that I had loving family. I had a loving family and loving parents. Parents who have spent a lot of money trying to help me get a better future. And even when I told them that no, I wanna deregister and I wanna come back home, I want to think about my life and what is it that I want to achieve, I was grateful for the fact that they said no, don't come back. Give your very best and just give your very best. And if it doesn't work out, we will understand. I was grateful. One thing I was grateful for was them giving me the opportunity to continue with what I was doing, even though I told them that I might fail or the chances of me failing were too high. I was grateful for that chance. And I was grateful for this was probably the hardest thing. I was grateful for the fact that I was the first one in my entire family or in the generation to go to university. And even though I knew that I was going to fail or that the probability of me failing was too high, that was something that I was grateful for. Another thing that helped me was that I committed to help and teach others so that they would also break through if I did break through, because it was so hard, it was painful. You know, waking up without a purpose for your being. You know, when you are living other people's expectation, when you are living other people's dreams that they had for you, when you are living your teacher's dreams, you've got no motivation or you've got no motive for action for you doing whatever it is that you are doing because it's not for you. It's not for you. It's for everyone else but you. And I remember as I was busy as a researcher, one thing I realized or what I figured out is that people change for two reasons and two reasons only. They either had and feel enough pain that they are forced to change, or they are inspired or motivated to change. And me committing to help and teach others to break through was the motivation that helped me. I had felt the pain before. I felt the pain that I no longer want to feel like this anymore. I wanted to quit. I was ready to quit. At some point, I even entertained the idea that let me go to the register at the Senate House and tell them that no, I'm not coming back. But the pain of whom I wanted to become out of that experience was too great that I said, no. What if I quit and I miss the lessons? And most people in life quit because they are not willing to pay the price of failure. You need to pay that price of failure. You need to get to a point where even if the business doesn't work, even if the marriage doesn't work, even if whatever it is that you want to do doesn't work, you are willing to pay the price. You are willing to go through the shame of saying that I did it but it failed, or I tried to love someone with my life and it failed. And there is no shame after you've given your very best, after you've learned everything that you need to learn. If it doesn't work out, there's no shame. There's no shame in walking away. There's no shame in failure. As a matter of fact, I think it was Winston Churchill who said that failure, it's something. It's not an event. No. It's a process you go through. And while you're going through that process, don't lose your enthusiasm. As you are going to be experiencing, you might be finding yourself in a rut because of a relationship where you loved someone so much, and it turned out that they didn't love you back, or that they had extramarital affairs. Don't let someone or their behavior stop you from becoming who you're supposed to be. You might have run a business and you had business partners who stole money from you, but don't let their behavior change you. And while you're going through those tough experiences, teach others. You know, when you teach, it's been said that when you teach, you learn more than you are teaching. Commit to say that even in this tough and hard experience that I'm going through, what are the lessons that I can teach my children? What are the lessons that I can teach my colleagues at work? What are the lessons that I can teach my family members if they themselves find themselves in this circumstance? When you commit, another thing, when you commit to never letting the experience or another negative experience get the better of you. And I remember one time, when I was young, and you know when you are going to university and you are like, maybe I could find my wife here. And I dated this girl. And after a couple of years, it turns out that she wasn't my only one. And what shocked me, or what almost nearly made me have a heart attack, was that knowing that I loved this person so much, I only found out on Facebook. On Facebook, imagine you've been calling a person, you know those signs you get, and your mind tells you that no, don't do this, but you don't want to listen to your mind. And I had been getting signs, and getting those signs that this person is not faithful to me. I've seen the way she's been giving excuses when she's supposed to be answering my calls. And this one time I logged in Facebook and I saw that, she had another person that she really was in love with. The guy had even proposed Now I'm even being notified or seeing the acceptance of the engagement on Facebook, and feeling that experience. It felt like someone was tearing my heart apart. But I committed that I was not going to let this experience get the better of me. No, I had felt that point where I was sleeping in bed. I couldn't go to school. I couldn't do anything with my life. I felt so miserable that I found no purpose and meaning for my life. And now this was happening again. Someone had broken my heart so bad that I had to publicly find out on social media. In that moment, I committed that I'm not going to let this experience get the better of me. No. My heart wasn't that fragile. In my language, we tend to say a word like, or a saying that goes like, "Galasia tubera," which simply means a glass is so fragile and it easily breaks. In me, I knew that I had this experience before, and I wasn't going to go back to the slum that I was in because of someone else's behavior. No. I wasn't going to give a real estate in my mind and in my heart to make me miserable because of what they did. It wasn't my fault. No, it wasn't my fault. I had given her my very best. I had done whatever it is that I had to do to love her with all of my heart. But how I loved her wasn't enough. And that's when I came up with this principle that I'm going to love you and give you my very best. But if it turns out that how much I love you and my best is not enough for you, then I'm not going to give you a second chance. I'm not going to give you the chance or the ability or the real estate that I'm going to give you a second chance. If my best wasn't enough initially, even now after or when I've given you the second chance, it will not be enough for you. Don't let other people's behavior get the better of you. And one thing that I realized or I noticed about pain was that when you and I are going through tough times, we need to find empowering meanings in our tough times. What does it mean? What does it mean when someone I love so much breaks my heart and it feels like someone has ripped my heart open? To me, it didn't mean that I wasn't enough. No. That was a negative meaning. I wasn't going to let this happen to me. No. What it meant was that who I was and who I had become was not the person she could live with. That was the meaning that I came up with. When you find empowering meanings, the circumstances you are going through, they empower you. They give you the motive for action. Be careful of the meanings that you give situations or experiences that you go through in your life. And this was the reason I never acknowledged or I never said I experienced depression, because I was studying psychology previously with an ex of mine. I knew that when you give an item or when you give an experience an identity, when you say I am, it means you are giving it an identity. You are associating with who you are or your character. And I wasn't going to let that become my identity, because I know the power of identity. It's Tony Robbins. In his research, he discovered that people will always live their life in consistency to the identity that they give themselves. And when I realized that no, the meaning that I'm deriving out of this situation is not about me or how insignificant I might have seemed to. No. That was not the meaning I was going to give this experience. The meaning was that who have I become? Who I have become at that point, they can't handle. Even you, my friends. Maybe there's someone that you love so much who had torn, broke your heart, and they left you for someone younger, for someone with bigger breasts, with bigger butts. Let me tell you something. Who you've become at the current moment, who you have become in your personal growth and development, they can't handle that person. They can't handle how beautiful you are. So they self-destruct. They can't handle how independent you are. So they self-destruct. I made sure that the meaning I gave myself for the experience that I was going through was an empowering meaning. And I refused to give myself an identity that would disempower me or that would make me a victim instead of a victor of this circumstance that I was going through. And it was that time when I discovered, or when I started to call myself King Abby. Because a king is someone who conquers. A king is a ruler. That's where I started calling myself King Abby. Because at that time I discovered that when I was going through that tough time of depression, if I may, I discovered that only kings have the greatest or the toughest battles in their life. I knew that because of my belief in Christ, I saw this as a chance for me to become someone else, and that I had to learn important lessons so that tomorrow when someone comes and says, I'm going through this tough time, would you help me? And I committed that I was never going to give myself disempowering identity. And another key or another thing for you to do to help you turn your depression into your motive for action. And like one coach says, he says that identify adjectives that you would describe with the best version of yourself. Now write those things down. Go ahead. Take out a piece of paper or take out your notebook. Write adjectives of the person, or write adjectives that would describe the person you would like to be, or your best version of yourself. Write them. At least maybe write 10 of them. Write 10 of them. When you are done doing that, go ahead and draw a picture, or look for a picture online or in your phone, or you use a picture online so that you'd have access to millions of characters. Give that person those adjectives you've written down. Find a person. Maybe it could be a superhero. Maybe it could be a role model. Have a picture that you'd regularly look at and say that no. When you find yourself acting inconsistent to that greater self that you have identified that you want to become, always remind yourself when you are tempted to go through a slump. For me, I would say that a person whom I would like to associate with as a role model of my greater self, I want to be like Miles Monroe. So every time when I'm doing or every time when I'm speaking, if I find myself that I'm not acting consistently with the greatest self, or with the greatest or the best version of me, which would be greater than Dr. Miles Monroe, then I'm not giving my very best. Now, when you found and when you've given that best self of yourself an identity, it will keep you in check and it will give you the right identity instead of a disempowering identity. Now, when you are done with that, the second thing you need to do, maybe on another piece of paper or on another part of your diary or notebook, write the adjectives that would describe your worst self. Write those down. Write them down. And when you are done writing them down, also find a picture of someone who would be that worst self of you. Find a strong name, if I may. Find a vulgar word or the worst description of a person that you could come up with, so that when you find yourself that you are acting inconsistent to your greatest self, you'd always remind you, you are being this so and so. You are being this so and so. And I don't want to use that negative word. I don't want to use that vulgar word. But you know, you use that vulgar word when you are behaving inconsistently with the person that you want to become. You know that, I don't want to become this person. No. I need to act, or I need to become that greatest version of myself. If you like, or the picture that you give is Superman. When you find yourself not acting the way Superman would act, Remind yourself that no, Superman won't act this way. I'm behaving like maybe let me use this word or this name. If it was me, I would say pussycat. When you are acting inconsistent to Superman and you find that you are acting like a pussycat, remind yourself that I'm not a pussycat. I am Superman. Let me act consistently to the way Superman would act. And ladies and gentlemen, those are some of the tools that helped me and some of the tools that would help you to turn your depression into your motive for action. And remember, if you find that alone, and I like what one well-renowned leadership expert says. He says that if I go alone, I will succeed. But if I go with others, I will reach far, or I will reach further, and I will leave a legacy. And if you find that you want to turn your depression into motivation, but for whatever reason, because it's you and you alone, you can't keep yourself accountable for the changes that you want to make, I am here. I am your coach. And I can help you. I can help you effectively. And we sit down and I help you turn your depression into your motive for action. I am your coach and I can help you become the best version of yourself. You might be an entrepreneur and you've been building a business. And while you are building your business, you didn't like who you've been becoming. Whether you've become the worst version of you, you've become a pussycat because you're pursuing purpose and you forgot your dream, or you forgot the purpose that you started the business with. I am also there to help you get out of that rut. I am there to help you turn yourself from being a victim of circumstances or a victim of self-destructive behavior into being a victor and a conqueror of all the circumstances that you find yourself in. You don't have to go through the process alone. You don't have to go through the pain alone. I am here to support you as your coach. Don't forget that you can catch me on WhatsApp at 071 639 7807. Or if you are on Facebook, just send a friend request to Ebenezer Mawabulo, or send me a DM or send me a message via Facebook and tell me that I want you to be my coach, or send me an SMS, say I want you to coach me. Send me a WhatsApp text saying I want you to coach me. If you're on Instagram, send me that DM and say I want you to coach me. Or if you're on LinkedIn, say Mr. Mamula, I want you to coach me. And I will help you go throughout this journey. And some of the tools or keys that helped me to turn my depression into motivation, I have spoken in depth about them in my book, There Are No Secrets to Success. Also, send me a message, whether on Facebook, Instagram, or on LinkedIn, or send me a text on WhatsApp. Remember, it's 071 639 7807. Or for my international audience, it's positive 27. It's positive 271 639 7807. And send me a message and let me help you become who you desire to be, who you were created to be, by helping you and coaching you to your best life. Remember, you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the victor when you choose to become your greatest self. In whatever you do, no matter what other people do, don't let anyone or any experience get the better of you. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next time.